Hey, what's up? Evan here, and in this video we'll be talking something about speed, something that I enjoy a lot. I'm not so much about memory expert. I'm not someone who scores perfect grades or something. But as a person, I enjoy efficiency. I enjoy something whereby you see something and snap, you got it, you know the answer. And over the course of my education, very basic mnemonics have helped me a lot. And I didn't know that they were called mnemonics all the way I went to the university. So over here, like you can see this word, let me increase the size. So mnemonics come from the word mnemon. I didn't even know that all the way till university. So it's just a simple idea that, let's say for example, there is something that you want to learn and you find it very hard to enter your brain. You think of an alternative pathway to reach your destination. Sometimes you have something that you want to learn and this is you find it very hard to reach over here. You find it very hard to cross over and really catch the knowledge ASAP. You find an alternative pathway. Sometimes it's through a stupid simple logic that can be directional, can be colors, can be length, can be up and down, things like that. Can be, usually I try not to. They can be vulgar, they can be violent, it can be sexual even, but I try not to do that. I try to have very positive and very happy ideas to help myself remember things. And mnemonics wise, right, since you're already trying to remember certain very a large amount of a large volume of information, try to make it distinct, that when you see or you think about the mnemonic, immediately you know decisively what are you referring to. So for example, I give you this comparison. There are 5 lakes around Mount Fuji. Okay, let's go and find the lakes. So through simple Google, you can see that. Okay, Lake Kawaguchiko, Lake Saiko, Lake Yamanakako, Lake Fujiko, Lake Motosuko. Okay, I ever saw there's this internet meme, or I don't know if it's real or not, because there are 5 L's. The mnemonic goes, Lucy likes licking lettuce lightly. What is going on? There are 5 L's and use just the 5 L's to remember things. How is it going to help you? There's nothing helping you at all. Let's go back to the names. Okay, there's K, there's S, there's Y, S and M. Okay, so use all these front letters, and yes, you're maybe sharp enough, you say, hey, there's an S here, there's S here, so why not use the J? Because this J is evident here, but the J is not evident over here. So K, S, Y, J, M, and you think of a story, think of a little logic. And I think this is AI. You can see that they already give you a certain example. Kids see you shooting mouse. Things like that. A simple sentence, something cute, something funny. It's good enough to trick the brain to help you to remember things, help you to remember sequences. Yeah, 5 L's. This is so ridiculous. Okay, so since we are talking about this, let's talk about one of the most famous series ever, reactivity series. So it goes from KNACA and all that, right? So for me, I remember as KNACA because the word itself links to the element. So I don't have to use the P for potassium, because P can mean so many other things, right? And it confuses you even more. So things like, I recall in the textbook it was given, please stop calling something zebra, crate and giraffe, and so ridiculous and so complicated. Like there's a C down here and there's another C down here. So what is stopping me from using one C for another C, right? So if you want to know further, you can check out the link over here for the mnemonic. But anyways, I'll run through over here. Let's find the text box. So mine will be Katrina and her cat must go to Charlie's zoo and feed the pigs, boars and hogs, and they receive a bronze, silver and gold medal. So you can see that immediately there's a certain link that has their own respective sequence and they cannot jump, right? You don't like, oh, the cat and Katrina, or the word Katrina is already K coming before NA. And why I use copper for bronze? Because bronze is an alloy and bronze is the alloy that we learned long time ago. So it's copper and tin, right? A long time ago, my era's mnemonic would be Katrina must go to Alan's zoo and feed the seals and hogs, and same, bronze, silver, gold. So that's the reactivity series I learned long time ago. I can still remember it because it's story. stories are easy to remember. A good technique I like for mnemonics is crossword. Crosswords help especially when there is just one letter that differs, right? So for example, stationery. So let's get the text box again. Okay, stationery, there's stationery and stationery. So which is the one that talks about things you have on your desk and versus things that are not moving, right? So you can see that there is only one letter that is different. So use the E and the A to make a difference, right? So what I like to do is, I like crosswords to help me remember. So for example, pencil is a stationery, and most stationery has the letter E. Can you see that? Pen, pencil, eraser, stapler, ruler, okay, they all have E's. And what about this? So think of a word that describes being motionless. So that's the crossword that I have in mind whenever I think of this. So whenever you see certain words that, you know, they look very similar, they only have just a couple of letters that is different, use that and find a way to link them together. The whole idea of mnemonics is you have to think of your own story that, you know, means something to you, that clicks to you immediately. Sometimes you can use a teacher's one, or, you know, mine. You know, you can see all my videos, I put all my mnemonics there. And if it helps me, it helps my student, I believe it will help you. And things like that as well, crosswords, learn techniques like that can help you. Okay, so things like, okay, in biology, you learn hormones, women's hormones, progesterone, estrogen. So they function differently and they do different things. And for estrogen, I like to spell it as, it can be the ESTR version or the OESTR version. So I prefer the O version. Why? Because of crosswords. Let's go for estrogen's job first. Estrogen's job is like Bob the Builder, right? The estrogen helps to build uterine lining. So it builds, and then it has a thick wall of uterine lining. So let's call it Bob the Builder. Okay, let's spell the whole thing. Okay. And then Bob the Builder has a friend called Wreck-It Ralph. He has strong hands used to carry and maintain uterine lining. Okay, Wreck-It Ralph has large hands. So you can see they're all cartoon characters, they're all cute, just like that. So by having little funny logic like that, it helps you to remember and you won't be lost when it's time to pull out the information from your mind. So we sometimes need to also account for panic, it happens. So yep, these are all done, 5 legs, and yeah, things like that. So sometimes we are talking about a difference in an opposing concept. So borrow and lend. So it's always commonly misused. So borrow, lend. So borrow is what? You have to receive something from somebody, right? For temporarily, right? Lending is you pass something to somebody temporarily. So it's something you pass, and this is something that you receive. So can you see the long word match the long word? The short word matches the short word. So do you go to the library to lend books, or you go to the library to borrow books? So I think that's very telling. Sometimes things happen, help you to think, for me, by the actual writing itself. And especially like things like this, push and pull. A lot of students, adults even, they have a confusion between push and pull. You just go to the shopping mall, you can see how many people they have a confusion between push and pull, right? So for this case, I will need to do the drawing. So in cases of the push and pull, for me, I just have to see the pull. Why? Because pull is P-U-L-L. Can you see the L? L is a double arrow downstroke, right? Which means to say it's a coming to you action. Pull is a coming to you action. If I remember pull, I don't have to remember push, because push is always a opposing. Push opposes pull. So if it does not have the double L, I know it has to go away from me. If I see the double L, it has to come to me. That's how I remember. And this next one, harmony against melody, is something more for music students. I will add the image later. So same, this is also a writing type of mnemonic. So you see harmony, there is a H. Harmony against melody, H. Harmony is a tall letter. So in a music score, if the notes are one above another, that's harmony, means things being played together. And in English language, if people can work in harmony, means they can work together. So things happening together, things being played together, sounds being played together is called harmony. So in a music score, if you sing one above another, there's a tall structure, okay, that's called harmony. Melody, on the other hand, it's things that are horizontal. So it's just like the letter itself. So you see harmony, there's an up-down motion, there's an up-down relation. Melody, there's a left-right relation. And if you study, biology, I'm not sure where did I learn this, but I got a feeling it's in JC, not so much in secondary school, but it's a good sharing point. Smallpox and cowpox. A long time ago, there was this pandemic, there was this plague outbreak, called smallpox, and the earliest vaccination was used via cowpox serum. They used the cowpox serum to inoculate into the smallpox, and smallpox got eradicated. So how do you remember that story? The cow is big and then the small is small. So big means the small one. Okay, north, south, east, west, very easy. So in the clockwise direction, naughty, elephant, splash, water. And if let's say you are facing a random direction, you need to find your bearing very easily. You can, okay, naughty, elephant, splash, water, then you can just find your way around in a clockwise direction. You don't have to, north, then south. Usually people say north, south, east, west, right? So you can have to, where's this, where's that? You need to point it around. So naughty, elephant, splash, water. Just go around and around and you should be right. Okay, so left hand, right hand. Also a commonly confused one, right? So text box again. So left hand always have this letter L. Let's make it larger and red in color. So imagine the hand has this L shape and the thumb is pointing here. So that's your letter L. L always is for the left. Okay, then for the other one. So right hand has the G. Okay, this looks more like L to you, but this is my right hand. So over here this is right side to you. So it has the letter G. G. Okay, very failed attempt. So this is the one that I'm looking at. G and the L. So right hand and left hand. Which month has the date 31, right? So some months have 31. So for example, January, for example, December. And how do you remember that? You remember them through your knuckles. So you see there's knuckles, there's grooves. Not sure that if you are being taught this little folk mnemonic. So January has a knuckle, it has 31. February has no knuckle, it's no 31. There's no 31. March has a knuckle, 31. March. April, May, June there's no 31. July there's 31. Then you go to your other hand. August there's 31. September no 31. September, October 31. November no 31. December 31. So do check the calendar and see if you are correct. And lastly, ASTC. So this is the one that just a little bit more aggressive side. I suppose you study math and there's this thing called trigonometry, right? You need to know which angles have a positive value for the particular trigonometric function. So there's this thing called the ASTC, right? So what I was taught in school, in secondary school, would be all science teachers are crazy. So over here, I am a science teacher in this channel. I'm probably crazy then. ASTC. But when I went to JC, the teacher calls it add sugar to coffee. So you can see that there's always pleasant examples to go around. So that's it for today. Go back to your materials and think about how you can arrange them into simple mnemonics to help your life get more efficient. And of course, if you can remember certain things that you do not need to have a certain mnemonic and a certain funny logic to go around it, by all means, just do what you are familiar and comfortable with. You do not need to force everything and anything into a mnemonic function. The whole spirit of this is just accuracy and efficiency. So if you can achieve that, by all means, go ahead, do it. Yeah, I hope this lesson, this sharing has been helpful. Do like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. If you found this useful, I believe you'll find this video up here suggested useful as well. I'll catch you there.